Michael was the original Roger Clemens. He only showed up on days that he was pitching.
That's not true. That is not true.
You know what? It was Michael because we rebelled and Mr. Ernst made you come to more games. But
Listen,
anyway,
that was a wonderful team.
it
And
was.
I'll never forget that. And I think we ended up competing for the championship against a team with the Hap brothers. Do you remember the Hap brothers?
Yes, I played again with them the year before.
And they were really skilled. And I remember that John Shortall, skinny,
Yep.
right, was the catcher for me, and that we had an important game in his senior year, and he was intoxicated when he arrived at the game. And Mr. Ernst looked at him and in the eyes and said, "Skinny, can you catch, son?" I'll just never forget that line. Skinny was ready to go. And Skinny's father was always at those games too. I could picture him in my mind's eye. It was fun times.
So, Michael, there's an add-on to that story. I was the emergency catcher, and John hurt his knee in a game. So I had to leave third base and catch, and I never caught anywhere but in batting practice. And so I tried to tell you that I was going to put the signal down, one for a fastball, two for a curveball, and you said, I'm throwing whatever I want. And so I had never caught a curveball in my life behind the plate. You threw a curveball and we had a runner on second base. The only way I could stop it was I grabbed it with my bare hand, and you and Coach Ernst couldn't believe that I did that. And then I looked at my hand; I had seam marks in my hand. But
That
I
is
think I
funny.
think we won that game, even though I was a really bad catcher.
That is funny. Love it.
We're going to start in 1 minute. I'm just letting Sarah Sweet in is not is having some trouble. So we can't do this without Sarah, right?
She's the best.
Can Brian show his cat again before we start, please? Very cute. Thank you.
This is River.
What's her name?
Wow.
River,
River?
like a
Cute.
body of a stream
Yeah.
of water.
Got it.
And somewhere around here is Rumor, his sister.
Oh,
So Chuck grew up in Doylestown as well.
Same block, same street.
Oh, were you
Same
on
street.
Mercer or Chapman?
Mercer.
Mercer.
Mercer. I drove by there last night.
Yeah,
Wow.
and there are a lot more. There are a lot more Michael stories that I could tell, but he probably has told them at the cigar events.
And I recognize the Hap brothers. Hap is a contractor, a big contractor in town.
That's true. That is
Yeah,
exactly
they
right.
were, I think, nephews of the Hat
Oh, okay.
owners. It was Vinny and
Roofers.
I can't remember
They
the
were
other.
roofers.
Yeah.
Happen Sons was the name of the business.
Yeah, they were general contractors. They built my
Yeah.
dad's garage on Atkinson Drive.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they bid on our house too. The
A
house we
small
built
world.
here. Yeah.
Well, it is a
Mhm.
small world because look at all of us all over the country who have never met well, a few of us have met in person. Um, we're going to get started because I know Michael has a time limit, and we're going to try and keep to our hour that I told Michael we'd keep to. And the way we're going to do it is, oh, hold on. People keep, Michael, if you want to do whatever you want to start, and then we're going to keep to a 2 minute. I'm going to call on different people to start. You get your 2 minutes to share with Michael whatever you want to share. Hopefully some really fun and good stories about our groups. You guys have been fantastic on Slack, and I really appreciate all of your contributions. And we're going to get to everyone's individually in a second. I'm going to let Michael take over for a sec.
I simply want to say thank you. I deserve no credit for this. All of you do. I think it's remarkable. And I look at that map of the country and how these groups are springing up and everywhere. And we're on to something. And I know that not only from this data, but also just from the reception that I receive anywhere I speak in the country on this theme. And it doesn't matter what kind of a group, not to mention the radio conversation. Anytime there's a Minglish kind of theme, people get it. They understand that we need to put the pieces of communities back together again. And The only issue is how to harness all of this energy and keep it forward looking. So I just am really appreciative, really, really appreciative. It makes me feel validated, I guess is a good word, in terms of what this is all about.
Well, everyone has really done a great job of kind of picking up that ball and running with it, and everyone doing it in their own way. So, Michael, we are all believers in the Mingle Project. So we all have that same North Star. Some of our groups are much more social. Some of them are more political. You should see, Michael, you would be in awe of what some of these people have done to set up their meetups with signage and agendas. And Diane, I'm talking to you. Diane is in Sacramento, and Diane came to the LA meetup, and I got to tell you, I felt really pedestrian because I'm just like, let's chat. But every group is really very unique, and the leaders of each group kind of set the tone. Clearly, Jeff, you know who I'm talking about. So let's see. Let's start with what I'd love to do is let's start with Jeff. Since for those of you who don't know, Jeff Wave and Beth Wave, and Beth and Jeff and I met at the Unconvention, which many of you may have heard about back in 21, Michael? I think it was 21, 22?
2022, I think.
22?
Probably right after the pandemic, right? When we could start doing these things.
Exactly.
It was a great event, and Beth found herself at the bar, and I found myself at the bar, and Jeff found, and we met, and then we met some other people. And Michael, we still have a group text. In fact, Joel from Omaha often calls your show. We have this group that met, talk about the best Mingle project ever, the Unconvention. So Jeff, why don't you start and tell, since you have the best parties, clearly. Tell Michael what you want to tell him, and I'm gonna just so you guys know, I'm gonna start the clock at 2 minutes, and we'll interrupt you when we're done. Oh wait, one more thing. If you want to stay on the end of the call after Michael gets off, we can talk about all of our stuff that Michael doesn't need to hear about. So Jeff, jump in.
All right. Well, I feel pressure here to stay on time, so I'll do my best. But I will say, if any of you read my invitations, I lean heavily into us being the first and quote unquote best group. So don't take any of that personally, but we all have a laugh on it every time we get together. And I've been trying different things, and we started out, first off, started small, got big. We were leading right into the election, which I'm learning was a driver of a political thing. Because honestly, when the election happened, like we sort of reset and started over. And a lot of people that were there for the politics just sort of disappeared. So then I've been evolving the thing, and now I'm kind of leaning into the Gen X dating scene, which has been really interesting, honestly. Because what I keep finding, even some of my core political people were, broadly speaking, 45 to 65-year-old women that were looking for a safe place to meet men. And they're smart people, and they're tired of dating apps, and they're kind of looking at what we're doing as this cool opportunity to find ways to talk to people that might kind of fit like them. And then, I've got a couple love connections that have been going on as well. But the way I've done it is to kind of mess with the tags that I use in the Meetup app. So we'll come back to that discussion, but I keep trying different things. We had this weird thing where like the whole thing exploded on me 2 months ago because I messed with some of the settings. We had all these like singles there, and we were rocking and rolling. And again, we saw some numbers getting exchanged, and we were laughing about it. And I keep going back to what I call my lieutenants, and I'm like, guys, I'm kind of trying to hear what you want.
He's going to join the captains to say hello. Here he is. Oh. There he is, right there.
Okay, you guys, you're interrupting. So let's.
But okay, I keep asking my lieutenants, do you guys want to do serious political talk or lean into the party scene and dating scene? And they keep saying, let's go with the party and dating scene. So that's what we've been doing. We're having a great time. Politics comes up. We talked presidential assassinations recently. So we're still talking about some of this stuff, but I keep phasing out political stuff in what I'm pushing out. It's had good results for us.
Good for you.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
Chef, I give you a lot of credit for everything. You've had great events and you've been in with me from the very beginning. Jeff was literally by my side from all this. So thank you for that. And looking forward to talking more after the call about maybe I need to add the single part to our hashtags. I want to go to Beth next. Just as an FYI, Michael, I've had to go to Chicago for business a couple times. So Beth and I have had the great opportunity of breaking bread together and spending time together and getting to know each other on a deeper level, thanks to your unconvention. So Beth,
all right.
hello.
Nice to meet all of you. So in Chicago, we primarily have our events at breweries and like small local brew pubs, right? We get anywhere between 8 and 20 people on each of our sessions. We are in a left-leaning city, right? So we tend to get more left-leaning people at our events. We have actively tried to go to breweries in more Republican-leaning areas of town, and no one has shown up. So I asked everyone in the Chicago group, like, hey, I have an opportunity to talk to Michael. What would you want me to say? And it's when you plug Chicago, tell people that if they're, more independent or Republican, they are welcome to come. We want to have the dialogue. We're hoping that they will show up to our events, but we do tend to kind of lean left. Most of the conversations tend to be political, a lot local though, hyper local. Certainly in the last couple sessions, it's been really around ICE and Border Patrol. We're getting hit pretty hard here in Chicago. And so there's been a lot of dialogue around how the world has evolved and what is actually impacting us on a day-to-day basis. So that's been a kind of a theme of the dialogue. But yeah, it's a pretty fun group. We've got about 5 people that have been at almost all of them. And then everyone else just kind of mingles in and out, and it's been great. And Bonnie was able to join us for one of them, and it was good fun.
Beth,
Yeah, go ahead.
Will you tell Michael the short version of how your kids had to deal with the ICE situation and how it's impacted them? Because you were concerned that Michael may not be understanding the local impact and how bad it is for many of us.
Yeah,
Don't cry. I know.
It's bad. It's really bad here. Sorry. All right. So I have a 13-year-old and 11-year-old. About a third of their school is low to moderate income, primarily Spanish-speaking students, right? We've got people from Guatemala, from Honduras, from Mexico, anywhere that speaks Spanish, right? My son first brought up the issue of the immigration stuff to me because he was really concerned his buddy Jackson wasn't going to show up for the soccer game. And I said, well, why wouldn't you think Jackson would be there? And he's like, Mom, none of the Spanish speaking kids have been at school for a couple weeks. And that's when I dawned on me that there was a big problem around here. So yeah, I mean, citizens, non-citizens, anyone who speaks Spanish or is brown is afraid to leave their house in Chicago right now. It's gotten a little bit better in the last 2 weeks or so, but it's been pretty bad for the better part of a month and a half.
Well, and the idea that they heard that there was a teacher that blew a whistle and they all thought the whistle meant that ICE was there, and all of the white kids surrounded the brown kids. That was really impactful to me. And I know you wanted Michael to know that as much as unfortunately time doesn't permit us to have a deeper conversation. I really wanted you to make sure that he heard that story.
Yeah. So that was my daughter. They had heard the whistles. Our neighborhood parents and neighbors have all kind of stepped up, and we're on whistle patrol to make sure that the kids are protected and their parents can drop kids off, or maybe we're stepping in. I get 5 kids to school every morning to make sure that they get there on time. But yeah, my daughter and her friends heard whistles blowing and assumed that ICE was there to get one of their friends. So they circled her on the playground. She's 11.
Story. That's incredible.
And it's,
thank you.
Yeah, sorry, one more thing. It's really hard to dialogue around that with your kids because they are very aware of what's going on. You can't hide this kind of stuff with them. And it's just a shame because they're kids. They've lived through the pandemic, and now they've got this. My son asked me, how his Spanish speaking friends hiding in their house was any different than what Anne Frank went through.
Tough. It's tough stuff.
Boy, that's a hard segue.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, I wanted you to have that opportunity to share, and time is less important than getting some of this told, and I appreciate you sharing, and I know it's very heartfelt. All right, so
just as a news source, if anyone wants to follow along, Block Club Chicago is that like super hyper local. That's a really good news source for information. So if anyone's they're curious about what's going on the ground here, that would be the place I would direct you to.
Thanks, Beth, and thanks for being on board with this from the beginning, even through your surgeries, and being such a great. No, you've been a great leader on the team, and really appreciate you. So I also had the pleasure of meeting Erin and Venice when I was in Dallas. And so why don't we go to them? Erin, you're not on camera, but Venice is. There you are. So one of you go first.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, Mashira. Whoops. I screwed that up already. My apologies. Erin Rantoff.
Okay.
Let's stay with you as long as you're talking. My apologies. A lot of you, I've not seen your pictures, so excuse me. Erin, why don't you share what you would like with Michael, and then we'll go to Venice.
One thing I would echo is that we have had trouble getting more conservative folks to come to the meetings, and we really are open to everybody, but I think they had a few kind of more conservative folks at a meeting I wasn't able to attend, but I think we would like, if you can kind of promote that, Michael, I think that would be great. Just like the previous person asked, I think Beth was asking, just, let them know that we really do want everybody. We just don't get a lot of, even though, we're in the Dallas area, which is kind of, depending on the town you're in, some are more conservative than others. It's just, and we kind of are in the little bit more conservative areas where we are, where we're meeting. But anyways, one of the things I like is that we get, we've gotten a lot of people who have never listened to the show before. And so they just kind of find us and they're like, oh, this looks interesting. And they come to the meetup, and we talk about all kinds of stuff. We haven't done the dating scene, but but we do have a good time. And we vary from last week, we were talking about some politics and then gardening. And just all sorts of things. So it's just a good way. We do enjoy it. I get to leave the house because otherwise I work from home and I probably would just stay home. So I'm, glad that I do it. And I've met Mashira, and she's a fantastic person. And I'm really glad that we've met. And I got to meet Bonnie, which was also very fun. We were fangirling over Bonnie when we got to meet her this summer. So we had a good time.
It was really fun to see you guys and have dinner with you, and I really appreciated that. Lindsay, I would love to bring you in, but you're not on camera, so when you come on camera, I'll bring you in. But let's go to Sarah Sweet, because I got to tell you, Sarah, every time I see your name, I smile because I can remember that first conversation I heard when you and Michael were talking, and like you just were so endearing, and you just filled my heart with that story. And so when you joined as a leader for this group, I was so happy. So Sarah, what do you want to share with Michael?
Well, things are going well in Oklahoma City. I would echo that we tend to have more people who are lean left for sure. But one thing, I think it was maybe October, when Michael, you had a guest on and people were talking about, or whoever your guest was talking about their third space. So outside of work and home. And that was one of our best conversations. And it was really fascinating. And one of our guys who, anyway, I possibly wouldn't have guessed this about him, but he does ballroom swing dance. And so then he invited a couple of other people in our group to go and do lessons. So that was really a fun icebreaker and a great way to get to know people outside of the political realm. So yeah, we're plugging along here in Oklahoma City.
Sarah, what happened with the college tour?
Well, Penn State is his number one, and we find out on Christmas Eve. So it will
Oh
either
my
be
gosh.
a Merry
I remember
Christmas
what that
or
was
a
like.
lump of coal.
I've been through that. It's brutal because, some of ours didn't get their first choice. And I hate to say this, but it turns the holidays upside down,
It truly does.
and to turn around that next wave of application. I'm glad I'm out of it, but I wish you good luck.
Thank you.
Well, all of us wish you good luck, Sarah. We'll look forward to hearing the results. We'll see you on the Slack platform. Let us know. Venice, why don't you go next?
Hey, it's Venice from Nashville. So we've had a few, like 2 meetings. I had some family stuff come up this summer, so we kind of slowed down a bit. But I'm back and everything's going. So I'm looking to plan something for December. Hopefully, we can do either a pre-holiday or post-holiday one. But I just wanted to share that, I talk about this a lot and I love the single theme because I've got a lot of single girlfriends who attend and they come and they spend time. But I just think we're so lucky to have this. I talk about this all the time with other people. I'm like, you have to mingle, you have to get out. My husband and I just took in our 15-year-old niece to live with us. And we're trying to, I'm thinking of Jean Twangy every time she's got that phone. And I'm like, oh gosh, I've got to make sure she's mingling and talking and not spending so much time on the phone. So it's been a learning lesson because we don't have kids. So it's been a learning lesson to bring this 15-year-old in and try and change things up. But I look forward to sharing more in the future. But I wanted to bring up when I met Michael the first time. Oh, this was at the Reagan Library.
Oh my gosh.
And that's when we were living in California, and we were the last people to sign the book. And I was super excited because I worked from home all that time, and Michael Smerconish was my best friend because I was listening to the show first thing. So
that was a really special night for me personally. It meant a great deal to me to be able to be at that particular venue, and people could not have been nicer. It was an extraordinary night. It really was.
Really was. And
yeah,
I'd like to
go back. I want to go back there. I really do.
That would be great. And if you ever think about it, maybe come by and do a music mingle in Nashville one day.
That would at the Ryman.
At the Ryman, yeah.
At the Ryman, yeah. I'd love that.
Well, if you come back to the Reagan Library, I promise you I'll come this time.
Yes, that's right, Bonnie. You were a no-show.
Funny story for another time. But speaking of talking about Michael, as some of us do to everyone and anyone that will listen, like my friends have a running joke, how long can Bonnie go? Like it's a drinking game. How many times is she going to mention Michael at dinner? Let's all have a cocktail. But speaking of talking about you, so I'm in Italy. I've spent a week with 18 people. And I don't find out until our drive to the airport, Jake. Jake and his wife, Lori, we're in a car and we're talking and they're like, well, what podcast do you watch? And I'm going, or listen to, and I'm like, I don't have time. I listened to this news guy. Let me tell you about him, blah. Anyway, Jake, tell your story and share with Michael what you want him to know.
Yeah. So all of a sudden Bonnie goes, yeah, I'm Bonnie from LA. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. We both had recorded Stuck in the Middle when we were on the bus, like on a tour, because it just came randomly on the radio. And it was just crazy. So after talking with Bonnie, after staying with her all week, like, becoming friends with her, she, asked me if I'd be interested in starting the Richmond, Virginia chapter. And I was like, sure, this is a great idea. I've been a big fan like forever. And we had our first meeting. I'm a college counselor, and we just got past November 1st, which was the big.
Hi, Bonnie.
Which was it was the big push to get applications done. But we had our meeting, and at our first meeting, one of the attendees came and she's like, I can't talk politics at all around the house with any of our friends. I'm in this red bubble. And, this was just like such a great moment to spend 2 hours with y'all, just being able to just talk about things. And then the second person that was at our meeting worked for the TSA and was on furlough. and was pretty high up in the TSA, like management. And he was telling us stories that were just incredible, like what being furloughed does to American security, which you're not really privy to behind the scenes, but how many people are not working to make sure things are safe. So it was, I mean, it's just amazing, these conversations. And I'm just really tickled to, be able to start this, and it's going to really take off. We've got, like, in the past few weeks, a whole bunch of people have joined. And thank you, Michael, for, pushing the Mingle project, because it is definitely needed.
Did you meet Bonnie in Italy?
Yeah, we were hanging out, like, at dinner every night, and
we were you have to explain. So it was like a culinary week with a group of about 18 people. 8 of them were MAGA conservatives who were pointing fingers at me all week. Had I known I had a kindred spirit with Lori and Jake, I would have connected with them sooner. But we just didn't have that conversation until our drive back to the airport. But we were together for a week cooking.
Great story. I love that.
Well, I do talk to, literally I get on a plane and I turn to the person next to me and say, let me tell you about my news guy. But anyway, the story for another time. So our number one overachiever is Diane in Sacramento. And Diane, I'm sure you have a lot to share with Michael, but you'll bring him the Cliff's Note.
I don't know about that. Credit. I mean, I know there's some people who are like they whiteboard and they pass out leaflets and things. I mean, I don't do that, but I've learned a lot from fellow members of what I'm doing. So the first hour, so I'm in Sacramento, by the way. The first hour is just have a seat, mingle, just free form. Any topic is game. The only rule is that you talk to each other with civility and respect. I've had people that ask to take politics off the table, and I said, absolutely not. I mean, the whole point is to learn to talk about this and still have a good time. So that's the first hour. And then the second hour, I have, they drop out of the little pouch, I have questions I've taken from poll questions, which I'm very careful how I curate them. I don't want ones that I know are going to be too hard or divisive. Around the time of Charlie Kirk, I had no Charlie Kirk questions. That was just way too hot a topic. But they're just conversation prompts. And what I've observed, this wasn't my intention, but my observation coming away from that is after sitting, across from somebody and enjoying a conversation for an hour, even if they disagree with you vehemently, they're humanized. So you can't be a jerk, and, you're more willing to listen and be open because you realize that's an intelligent, likable person giving you a different opinion. And my hope is that people take away from this that, next time you're online and online or even in person with a total stranger, if they disagree with you, you're going to pause for a second and realize, that's a human too. I'm hoping that we're getting rid of the dehumanization that seems to be such a problem in so many, conversations on so many platforms these days. Yeah, same like everybody else, lack of conservatives. The ones that we do get, I love because it always makes it so much more interesting. So I really try to kind of get them to, pull them out more to speak up a little bit more, because they usually have really interesting viewpoints, and bringing things to the table that, just ways that we're not looking at things. But like everybody else, I've got a shortage of Smerconish listeners. I've got maybe 4 or 5 that listen to your show, Michael, but most of them, it's the meetup algorithms, which is fine with me. As long as people are coming, I don't care.
It's fine with me too. I wish that they were all listeners, but I'm not upset about that. I'd rather people get together who have never heard of me than not get together at all.
Yeah, but then they hear of you because we indoctrinate them from the beginning. Once we go around and we find out, oh, you've never heard of Michael. Oh, wait, let us tell you. And then we share the newsletter and we share different topics that you have talked about. So we get those people to start listening or watching you on CNN. I think all of us have had that experience with getting people that haven't heard of you to then all of a sudden be indoctrinated. So they come to the next meeting going, did you hear what Michael said? So little by little, we're getting more of them. So another overachiever is Jen, who, thank you, Jen, taught us. She does, Michael, you should see, Jen does these great AI images that she used to announce her meetups. And then, of course, I had to learn how to do it. And thanks, Jen, I've been now like overly obnoxiously committed to ChatGPT. But Jen, why don't, oh, and Jen, you had Maya. Maya went to a New York Mingle. Tell us about that.
Yeah, thank you, Bonnie, Michael. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Yeah, I've become and hi, Diane, because we got to meet up when she was in Brooklyn. So I am the host of the New York Mingle. When I first checked your website in the spring, I was shocked to find out nobody else was hosting the New York City Mingle. I thought it was a city of 8 million people. I don't understand why I'm suddenly going to be the one doing this, but okay. I guess rarely am I the first to do anything in this city, but why not? And yeah, as Bonnie said, when I was crafting my first invite, I had just started playing with ChatGPT, and I think I wrote like, make me a cartoon photo of an elephant and a donkey at a bar with a purple tie drinking wine. And I took a couple of, no, that's not quite right, or no, the donkey doesn't have ears, or, whatever, but it finally worked. And so I had set it up, and I put it in the Slack channel chat, and everybody seemed to really like it. And I just thought I was being lazy by not putting something together myself, but it's worked out. And so we've only had about 3 mingles so far. But the thing I like the most about what we've been able to do so far is the age ranges of the people that have come. So some people in their 20s, and then, people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s have also made it. So I like that this is spanning decades and getting different perspectives from different people. And then, yes, Maya did come to the last one, and it was like, wait, you work with Michael? Like, I can't believe it felt like royalty coming to our
She'll be with me tomorrow. She's coming to the new
All
studio
right,
for
well,
the first time tomorrow.
let her know you met Jen,
I'm going to, for sure.
No, tell her we all say hi, because she's been great. Lindsay and I have been working with Maya to get, the pictures posted, and Maya's just fantastic. So thank her for being the conduit from
Sure.
us to you. She's done a fantastic job, and we love her.
Thank you,
Um,
Ben.
Thank you.
so Liz on Long Island. So Liz has had a no, am I wrong on Long Island? Okay.
No, you're
muted.
correct. You're correct.
Okay.
Hi. Okay.
Go ahead, Liz. What do you want to share?
So we had our very first meetup the day after Election Day, and it was very raw. And we had a small group. We had some good political talk. It was a little ginger. I had a co-captain, and he was, he didn't like to admit it, but he was a MAGA guy. And he's since stepped back. And so our last meeting was our 1-year anniversary. And what's happened is our core people who come regularly, and we get between 18 and 28 people, they don't want to talk politics. They just enjoy making the connection, seeing people, making friends. There've definitely been several friendships made. I know that some people, have an eye toward maybe meeting a partner. I'm not sure if that's happened. So what I try to do is I try to have one area where the few people who do want to speak about politics and current events, I'll print out 4 or 5 of your recent poll questions as conversation starters, and I tell them where to go. So I don't want to alienate the people who don't want that, but I want there to be something for everyone. And one thing I want to say is that up until very recently, this is out of my comfort zone to host 18 to 28 people. And there's a guy on this chat, Tom Clancy. He does the Albany, the upstate New York. He is a tremendous ambassador for the Mingle Project. He goes to every group that's driving distance. He's come to every meeting of mine that's been during the week. He supports me when I used to feel intimidated to have 28 people, and I was facilitating. Tom is there with me and for me, and he would explain, the Michael Smerconish philosophy, and he's become a friend. So
Wonderful.
it's been a really positive experience for me and for a
Tom.
lot of my
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Liz, and thank you, Michael. I can't tell you what that means to me. Thank you.
Well, Tom, why don't you take the floor and share?
Sure, Liz, we're okay. So, I echo a lot of the stuff that people are saying. My group is very small. I think I may have. Let's see if I can put this up here. So, this is a pocket copy of the Constitution of the United States, and I was in Barnes and Noble, and I picked up about 100 of these. I bought everyone they had, and I traveled to a whole bunch of other Barnes and Nobles, and I got well over 100. And I started out, I thought that I was going to run into all political junkies like me. I've been a lifelong political junkie, and turns out that is absolutely not the case. But it's great. For me, it has been a truly life-changing event, what you've done, Michael. So thank you, Michael, for creating the meetups, the third space, as people call it. It's been great for me. It's put my head in a totally different place and got me out and meeting people. And I really clearly feel that I've made genuine friends, especially with Liz from Long Island and Amy from White Plains and Jen from New York City. And I can't thank you enough for doing this. It has been absolutely great. And we would love to see you at one of the meetings on Long Island or in Westchester or in New York City. So
I'd love to do that. If I can make that happen, I would love to.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. All three of them have been kind enough to coordinate dates with me, so I'm able to make their meetings, and it's just been great. Thank you.
That's so nice, Tom. That was really nice to hear. I really that warmed my heart. The connections that we're making together is really pretty amazing, and an unexpected positive byproduct for sure that none of us had thought about ahead of time. Lindsay, now that you're back on
apologize, by the way, I apologize for my video quality. I'm literally sitting in my car, so I'm
it's
sorry
okay.
about that.
It's all good. We heard every word, and that's all that mattered.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing that, Tom. I really, really appreciate it. Lindsay,
You're
can
welcome.
you unmute? So I want everyone to, Lindsay has been just organically became somewhat of a co-pilot to us as we launched and has done a lot of the legwork. And Michael, I don't know if you know, we have a platform called Slack that we all communicate on. And Lindsay set it up without me asking. She was just like, you can't keep doing these reply to all emails. Lindsay, it never occurred to me like, oh, what's going to happen when there's 35, people. But Lindsay, this is Michael. And what did you want to share with him?
Good to see you again, Michael. I was listening to you this morning. It was a really interesting conversation. But so Portland is, kind of a small group, but it's very, kind of organic in terms of topics. Sometimes it's political, sometimes it's about the show, sometimes it's about who knows what, electric cars and gardening and crafting. But, so far it hasn't had the growth that, some of the other cities have seen. And I think part of that is that Portland is very introverted. But additionally, I'm hoping to at some point get a co-pilot for the group. So because a lot of my focus is on more of the infrastructure side and, the Facebook group and some other, conversations going on with like the Meetup app itself and just kind of supporting everybody. So that's where a lot of my energy tends to go, is kind of supporting the nationwide group as a whole. So hopefully I can get somebody to kind of help with the local group at some point.
Thank you for doing that. The infrastructure is important.
It is.
It is. It is. She's been a great help to me. And oftentimes when there's an email and I don't get to it for a few days, she already jumps in to take care of it. And the other thing you should know, Michael, is that we share one member that comes to both of our meetups, depending on what city he's in. And that's your friend Larry Paul. And Larry is a great supporter for Lindsay and comes to our meetings as well. So he's with us. Lindsay, thank you for all your help. We really, really, really appreciate it. And let's move to Brian. Hi, Brian. Nice to meet you.
Howdy, howdy. Yeah, I'm Brian from Austin, Texas. I've been going. Yeah, I was a little disappointed that Austin didn't get a Mingle Meetup early on, and then I finally was like, okay, fine. I'm going to figure out how to make one. And then I went and saw there was one. I'd missed the first two meetings, so I've been going to the meeting ever since. We just announced our 10th meeting today.
Wow.
So attendance has been pretty low. We've been having a little bit of trouble getting the word out, but Ryan asked me to kind of co-chair with him and to do I'm far more comfortable with digital stuff and stuff, so I said I'll get in Slack and all that and start figuring things out. So just kind of doing baby steps at the moment. Going back to the meetings, small groups, I think the largest we've had is so far is 8. Last week or last time it was 6 people. I've actually been a little surprised. I thought we would get a little bit more, about 50-50 mix of Smerconish listeners and viewers and people who aren't familiar. I love the idea about the newsletter. I'm going to take that, I'm going to bring that up at the next meeting. But with that all being said, I was a little surprised that I figured people would want to talk about stuff other than politics, but so far it's usually been politics and stuff like that. With that being said, it's been kind of a rotating group of a lot of, we have a student, a person who used to be a city manager, all sorts of stuff, a lot of neat backgrounds, a lot of neat people, and a pretty good mix of different political persuasions. And so I've been really pleased with the meeting. But I'll say that so a long time ago, you were talking, Michael, you were talking about T-shirts and stuff like that. And I got sick and tired and I finally got one printed.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, it's awesome.
With the angry on the back. And then the day after I got it, you started selling T-shirts.
Did we have an Angry is Over? I don't even remember if we did.
I don't remember if
when
you
I
actually
did it, we
or not.
did.
I think you showed a mock-up of it. Or
Okay.
something. And so in any case, I made my own. And I will say that T-shirt was one heck of a conversation starter.
I'll bet.
In fact, it's kind of funny because I'd have people come up from behind because they see the angry question mark and they look at the front and go, oh, and stuff like that. Another good conversation starter I found is my hair is purple on the sides and maroon on the top for A&M. I'm an Aggie. But I discovered that coloring your hair will get someone to compliment you or mention you, and it's a wonderful conversation starter. It's a nice, just gives you a little chance to talk to people. I've just got a chance to meet all sorts of people. And one final point, I have 4 children. They're all adult now. My youngest one just turned 21, and they have sorry, this is an old internet term I got hooked into. They have tons and tons of brick and mortar friends. They love meeting with people in person in addition to their digital lives. The digital can be really cool. Like, for example, one of my children helped Australian bicyclists gave him a place to stay while he was biking across the country and things like that. So I just wanted to say that, in many, many cases, the kids are doing really, really well. They really seem to like to talk to each other, at least in my experience. They're kids from all sorts of economic backgrounds in our neighborhood. That doesn't seem to matter. Race doesn't seem to matter with at least with the, things like that. I've been just very delighted that our children seem to be standing on our shoulders and you know, have gotten past a lot of things that hung us up or me up.
I have a question.
Sure.
So attendance is a problem. I get that. And yet the 10th meeting was just scheduled.
Yes.
So the people who are attending must derive benefit from it and keep coming back.
Yeah, there are some people who keep coming back, and we have a steady rotation of new people. And what we've found is that some people, like, they'll miss a meeting or two and then they'll come back and things like that. But we just haven't but we were hoping that it would be growing a bit more by now. But it's baby steps. I mean, one of my things in life is just not to expectations or prepackaged disappointments. Just let it go where it's going to go.
Okay, you've given me an idea, but I'll hold my thought until the end.
Okay, cool.
Well, you can, Michael, it's you can jump in and.
No, I have a few things that I want to say, but I'm loving all of this. I'm really touched. I mean, it's really remarkable. Such a nice group of people who are genuine and just wanting to meet other people and not be nasty. I mean, it's remarkable. It's really remarkable. You're giving me what's the word? Sustenance, I don't know, encouragement. It's great. That's my idea.
Yeah, well, just one final thing. I mean, I think most people here would say that this is a well done, but we all have the same motivations. We want the same things for the most part and things like that. It's just how we get to it. And if long as we're willing to listen to each other, it's not it can all be overcome.
Love it. I love it.
Michael, one thing that I say often is, we don't know what we don't know kind of thing. And when we started this, we didn't know what we didn't know. But one thing that I have been particularly surprised at in retrospect is how nice every single person on this screen, every organizer, we've only had one bump. Everyone has been just really just salt of the earth kind of people. And I think that speaks volumes to you because that's what you attract. When you give people an opportunity to comment and not shut people down, as hard as it is sometimes, I know. It's hard for me. I'm screaming at the phone a week behind going, why is he interrupting them? But everyone is just incredibly kind. And you guys, my hat's off to you because how we have cultivated this group. I don't know that we're going to be able to have another call again because we got too many and it's going to, no one has, we have to aim towards that North Star of the in-person event that we'll still talk about. So I want to go now. I'm going to just go on the screen because I don't know all of you and I can't remember every city and name. So I'm just going to go from my screen. Doug, you're next up on my screen. So what would you like to share with Michael? And I'm going to start the clock again.
Yeah, thanks, Bonnie. I'm Doug Weaver up in Traverse City, Michigan, so northern Michigan, and actually a co-host with Mike Thomas. Mike saw you in Grand Rapids. I think it was probably 5 years ago or something like that. I think you were down there. But we are a new group, and we're a relatively small town, although the metro area, if you want to call it a metro area, includes 7 counties and it's 150,000 people or so. So it's a really dynamic area. It's fast growing. We have a very large retirement community there. I'm a retired book publisher. Michael, we brought you the second edition of America: What Went Wrong.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Okay. You know what? I'm about to reread it. I'm about to read it because so many times it has popped into my head in the last couple of weeks, and Bartlett and Steele had it all right. And I want to go back and refresh my memory. It's truly on my things to do list.
Yeah, Jim's always a great interview, and it is true. I mean, I was going through it just a couple of weeks ago, looking at the charts and all those things, and they had it spot on.
Spot on, yeah.
Yeah. So, But I've been busy taking notes. We have our first meeting about the second week of January. We thought we'd hold off and not try to do something in December. But one of the challenges, we're both Mike and I have a lot of experience kind of organizing groups at the older demo level. But one of the challenges is really for us is going to be to bring in younger people.
Right.
And so I'm really looking for ideas in that area, and been some good ones here today, so I appreciate that. But we're looking forward to joining you all and excited about what's ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug, and welcome to the group.
Thank you.
And, a lot of the groups, small is not bad. We don't all have to be Jeff with like 50 people having a party. Some of us are smaller and, I'm in a big city and I still have a small group. Maybe it's me. I don't know. Anyway, Ryan, would you like to go next?
Yeah, thanks, Bonnie. Hey, Michael. Hey, everyone. This is Ryan. I helm the Portsmouth, New Hampshire chapter of our enterprise here. And Michael, I know you've commented on the radio about wanting to get to the Kennebunk one. The Portsmouth, New Hampshire is the old Kennebunk one. Kind of, Kennebunk was halfway between two population centers, so we moved it. An idea for everyone, we've only had one meeting. We met at a diner, which was great, so I recommend meeting at a diner. I'm also going to ask everyone to bring a topic of conversation next time, so it doesn't just fall on me to lead the conversation for an hour and a half or so. And I most want to say to Michael that I see the Mingle Project really as two separate but related themes or ideas. So promoting moderate and independent politics, but also a place for civil discussion for all, no matter if you're left or right. And I had an idea for a capper for your Saturday morning topic where you were talking about Thanksgiving dinner. And I thought if you said something like, I'll pass you the bread if you pass me the cranberry sauce, right? If we disagree, we still get along. Everybody still loves each other. Yeah, I think that's about it. Also, it's too early to tell for us about conservatives. I'm center right myself, so I'm thinking that the group is kind of varied. I might be the youngest organizer as well, but it's going great.
That's awesome, Ryan. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ryan. Tom, Wesley.
Well, thank you. So, Michael, I was recruited by a celebrity to start this Providence group, as we're now approaching our 16th meeting. And that celebrity was you. You were speaking in Northport, and my wife and I are avid listeners, and we said, I grew up in Long Island, so I said, let's go. That's a good excuse to go. And just walked away from that event early on in your Mingle presentations. I think you refined it a few months later and really recorded it. But that was just a great.
That was a fun night. I remember it very. It's when folks on the call say, "I met you here, I met you there." I can place and think about every one of these events, and I remember that theater. It was an old theater, and you probably never got to see, but it had a very funky dressing room downstairs because they were used to putting on shows. But that was a wonderful night.
Yeah, and I wanted to say hello to you and introduce myself, but you were surrounded by everybody else who wanted to do the same thing. So here I am. But we've been at this, like I said, 16 months. It's a politically oriented group, a discussion group, kind of 50-50, people who know you and don't, maybe growing in people that know you. I'd like to think that every Sunday that we meet is an opportunity to have a Thanksgiving meal conversation. And we do stay within our boundaries. And I think I echo a lot of the sentiments people have mentioned here. It's really about getting to know people. It's just hard to hate people once you're going to know them, no matter what their political persuasion may be. We meet in a couple of very beautiful locations. We've resigned ourselves to not meeting in places that cost money. So we have had access to to a nonprofit it's a boating center. It's got a beautiful view of Narragansett Bay, and in the colder months, one of the members has got an apartment that has a rooftop. So it's just a lovely place to go. It doesn't cost anybody any money, and therefore we do draw from a broader group of folks, which is great. So we're still at it. I also wanted to give a shout out to Jake. I just want you to know I'm a Richmond Flying Squirrels fan, devotee, and both of my daughters live in Richmond, so I'm going to try and hook you guys up. No, I mean for the meeting. It's not a singles thing. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Did you say you've had 16 meetings or 16 months you've been at it?
16 meetings in 16 months. We've been religious about it, and we have 8 to 10 people every month, and there's like 170 people that say, "Oh, we're members,"
right?
But we don't see them.
Got it.
So for those of you who are waiting for that magic, for those numbers to show up, they probably won't. Be nice to find a way to purge that somehow, but I don't know how you do that. But we just keep the faith, and people have begun to have relationships. I don't think outside of the group, but they do look forward to coming to people, to seeing these people. And I will say one person who came for the first time after 12 months of having been a member said, every time there's been a meeting, there's always been a reason why I couldn't make it, but I made it, and now she's a regular, and she's wonderful. So just, again, keep the faith, and thank you very much, Michael, for giving this opportunity, and Bonnie, and all of you.
Thank you, Tom. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, Tom's been on from the get-go and from early on. So thank you, Tom, and thanks for being on the call. Ray, would you like to jump in? Yes? No?
If I can figure out how to unmute, I would love to jump in.
You did. Perfect. Good job.
Thanks, Bonnie, and nice to meet you, Michael.
Hi, Ray.
Hi, just here in Las Vegas. I'm the co-captain. Rich Travis was on for a minute ago. Kind of like was mentioned before, I was kind of surprised nobody had a mingle group here in Las Vegas. And then when I reached out, found out Bonnie put us together with Rich, and Rich and I have become pretty good friends. Echoing some of the sentiment that Bonnie has brought up and others, what a great group of people we have on this call. I know one of the reasons I did it, and as long as my wife, we're both retired feds. I retired from the FBI after 20-some years as the assistant special agent in charge. And Beth, I want to kind of mention to you directly, I got sort of similar emotionally tied to the immigration stuff to the point where I proposed a law class, and I'm actually going to be a law professor next spring teaching what's called crimmigration, because I got really frustrated with everything that's going on. I spent 2 decades or so of political neutrality. I couldn't speak my mind ethically and otherwise, but I come to find out once the muzzle kind of came off, not the quote Michael's book muzzled, but once it came off, I realized I'm kind of neutral. I'm kind of left, kind of right, kind of in the middle. And so it was fascinating to be able to, engage that experience and see just how frustrating it is for the brown kids and everyone else and how fearful they are. Living in Nevada, it's Nevada, not Nevada. I think, as I've heard you guys say on the radio quite often. Living here, it's a green state, right? It's not red, it's not blue, it's green, and that's money-based. We have roughly 50 million people that come into this town every year for any number of events. Just most recently, the F1 was here in Las Vegas. Austin, if Brian, you're out there. I went to that one and I went to this one because we're huge F1 fans. But it's fascinating to see just how little politics plays a bigger role once you get below the tribalism. And you see just how important it is that they want to have entertainment and mingle. And this city is fantastic for that. We hold our meetings in the Mob Museum. I'm lucky enough to be on the council, so we have a secret speakeasy in the underground where we go, and we generally talk about some politics, some lifestyle things. A lot of questions come up about the mob. I ran the criminal program, so I have a lot of internal secrets I'm never allowed to share for 25 years is what I always tell people. But for the most part, it's a fascinating adventure. I think others have mentioned the mingle side of the singles. My wife doesn't like that, so we're there together, so I can't do that. Wouldn't want to. She's not here. She can't hear me, so I'm safe. But ultimately speaking, it's a fantastic opportunity for everybody to get involved, and I'm really looking forward to kind of pushing ours. We've had 2 or 3 meetings now, 11 to 12 people sign up, 2 to 3 show up. We host an annual Christmas brunch, and so we've invited some minglers here. We usually have 50 or 60 people at the house with some local other folks, and I've been kind of pushing the whole mingle idea because we're in a really unique spot in Nevada, especially Las Vegas, where it truly is a wide open political culture. And I'd offer this to anyone I know. Diane, we couldn't make it work, but she was here. And if you're here and I can make a mingle event happen, we'll do it. We'll try to get more on the books. And obviously, if you guys want to have a national one, we do that all the time. We have 150,000 hotel rooms. So if we can fill those up, we're doing a great job in that mingle. So I just thank Bonnie for everything that you're doing on this. Beth, thank you for what you're doing. It's a huge impact. I've seen it both from my prior employment and what I'm doing now, and it affects communities that nobody will ever see, whether they're 13 to 20. And it's just what you're doing is God's work. And it's just fantastic that you're able to provide some level of comfort, because that's all it really takes. You just have to be present, and that gives us support, because kids are more resilient than we are. So anyway, just happy to be here. And if you're ever in Vegas, folks, just look me up. It's fantastic.
Ray,
Thank you.
I've been to the Mob Museum.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, and love it. And you'll get a kick out of this. The person who told me that I had to go there was Oscar Goodman.
One of the 25-year, 10 of the mayors. So.
Over a martini at the name of his restaurant is something like Bourbon and Broads. Pardon me for saying, right?
It's changed to Oscars. And one of the funny story about that, Michael, it's Oscars, and he gives you a business card, entitles you to one free drink, and then on the back it says, "But you will buy another." Okay, fair enough.
Okay, sure. If that's what it takes, that's great.
Exactly right. So no, great, glad you can make it.
Thanks, Ray. And if anyone knows how to pronounce Nevada, it's
Nevada.
Mr. Michael Smerconish for always making a point of making sure that everyone pronounces it correctly. So we thank you. We thank you for that. So we have two Amy's on our call. We have Amy Kirby, who is on camera. So you go first. But if Amy from White Plains wants to join in, you can go after Amy Kirby. Oh, there you are. So Amy Kirby, you go first, and then Amy from White Plains go next.
Hi guys, Amy in Houston. Good to see you, Michael.
Hi, Amy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you.
I've been at this also 16 months, 16 meetings. We last time had over 30 people, and I was like, I think that was the first time I got a little nervous. In fact, I put like a cap on the numbers for 35 because I was a little nervous about our venue and everything. So this time I'm not putting a cap on the numbers, and I'm just gonna let it ride. See how many people actually turn up. I've kind of modeled this after what I imagine Michael's show prep to be like. I really try to be prepared because I don't want to go in there just totally cold now that we have all these people coming. I feel like I need to really deliver something good. I try to have 3 topics that I'm well versed on that I can, tee up for everybody to discuss. I've also we call it, what did they call it the other day? I forget. The OGs, the core group that have been there from the very, very get-go, the first 5 people to show up, who've been there pretty much every meeting. That I've delegated some tasks out to. So somebody will print out our agendas. I'll ask somebody to maybe tee up a topic. We have really crazy smart people that come to our meetup, like Johnson Space Center engineers. And I mean, we like crazy smart people that are contributing to our group. So I feel really lucky. One of the things that I find people like is the agenda. I post it in Meetup before the event so that people can look through, make sure it's something that they really want to talk about. But prior to that, when I post the event, I say, hey, let me know what you want to talk about. What's top of mind to you? Talk to me. Like, what's going on here? Give me your thoughts. Kind of like when Michael says call in, like almost like a free form type thing, like tell me what's on your mind. But there are 2 huge things that drive what I try to present. And we are very politics driven, but my group likes that. We talk politics. You have to be civil. We lay out the ground rules every time. I want us to meet in the middle. I want us to, if we disagree, try and, find a way to respectfully do so. I want us to also talk about getting together face to face, mingling, because like Michael has said a million times, we've got to get face to face and get out of our little screen bubbles and hopefully this will carry on to our kids and their kids, and we'll just be a little closer than we have been for so long. So that's my show prep. And I
Thank
was
you,
so
Amy.
proud of myself last Saturday. I was like high-fiving and freaking out in the living room because my last mingle, which was on the 15th, I had communism, socialism, democratic socialism, and there goes Michael on TV. With the difference, I was like doing my victory lap around the kitchen. I was like, thank you, thank you. I was like, we're doing the same show prep. I must have done something right. So anyway, that's
Thank you,
the
Amy.
Houston
Thank
Mingle,
you,
and I
Amy.
love it, and I'm grateful for it. So that's all I got.
Thank you.
Let's go to our other Amy.
Hi, Michael and everyone. So I'm in the White Plains, New York group, and what we've been doing is either a coffee social over the weekend or maybe drinks during the week. I'm going to say on average we have about 8 people that show up. And one thing that I've noticed, because I always try to sit in the center of the table, is that one side of me will always want to talk politics. The other side does not. And sometimes we will get a conversation going together, but when politics starts, there's the separation. Similar to some of the conversations that have come up. I mean, we talk about music. We talk about, things to do in the area, restaurants. I do want to say, yeah, there's definitely that singles feeling to it. I remember somebody came down to one of the groups and it's just like, is this the singles meetup? And I'm like, no, this is the mingles meetup.
That's funny.
And I mean, they came. It was a nice group. That one was a little bit bigger. We had 12 that time, and it was a nice mix of people. So we had a really nice time talking about all sorts of different topics that came up. But I found that a lot of people go and get numbers and do things together. And it doesn't have to be like as a dating situation. It could be, I met a new friend. And to me, that's what I would like it to be. I want people to, get into situations where they're going to meet people that they wouldn't normally meet and just strike up conversations about anything that brings them joy. And if they wind up making a new friend, that is wonderful. That's what I want it to be.
Amen.
So
that's it.
that is an overview of what my experience has been like.
Thank you, Amy. Appreciate that. All right, let's go to Joe next, and then we'll go to Glen after Joe.
Hi, everybody. Hey, friends. How are you? Michael, nice to meet you. Bonnie.
Hi, Joe.
Hey there. Hey, Bonnie, a big thank you to you for just putting this all together. I know the work that goes into this kind of stuff.
It's all good.
And so, hey, it's important work, right? We've had in Philly, we've had 3 meetups thus far. I guess before taking on this challenge, Bonnie, I think there was somebody who was in Philly earlier, and I figured, let me give this a shot. So I write Bonnie, and I'm like, Bonnie, I imagine there's like other people that are really interested in this, and she's like, nope, you're in charge, you get it, off you go. And so we started with using the Meetup app, of course, and we landed on around 15, 16 people sign up. And then out of those 15, 16, this is back in July, we had our first meetup. 8 or 9 end up showing up. And I feel like the 8 or 9 who showed up really just wanted to get together. There was nothing about politics at all. They just wanted to be with one another and just chat. And Michael, you were the center point of all of it because they all were listeners. They're all listeners. And it came from like an hour away. One guy wore a Free Harry t-shirt, right? And so, of all things. And so the biggest challenge I guess I have found, one is, it's just venue. All right. It's really, now we're up to 85 people on the meetup, and Tom, taking what you were sharing, you know what? they may not all exactly want to do this, but they want to be connected, and maybe they were just clicking through one day. But finding the venue right now, we stayed in restaurants, which has been nice because I think for some the booze helps, and so it's a real thing. So, but the biggest challenge was the first group said don't schedule it on Eagle game day. So I had to go through all the Eagle schedule and then figure out when not to have a meeting, right? And so, but it's been good. The people who have attended the last each one of them have been right down the middle. Folks aren't really showing what side or whatever, but they're right down the middle. And if you hear some dogs in the back room barking, I've got 4 in the house right now. So, apologies.
It's okay. It's all right. So thank you, and
Thank you, Joe.
Hey, one thing, Michael, can I just throw in one last thing if you don't mind?
Sure, please.
Michael, there's anything, I hope this group today provides you some affirmation on the work that you're doing. All right, bringing people together because that matters so much. And I'll pause there.
Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah, we'd all echo that. So we'll go to Glen next, and then we'll go to Renee.
Hi, Glen from Cincinnati here. Like some of the others, I was listening to the show for a while, and it's like, this sounds like a really cool thing to do. It's like, is there one in Cincinnati? No. Guess I need to start one. So we got our 8th one coming up in December 2nd. We didn't do one in November because of the holidays, and we didn't want to get too far into December. So they all decided December 2nd, let's do that. At the beginning, it was a slow start. Chuck Hall really helped me out with some technical stuff to get that going. But once we started, it was just kind of slow and steady. Right now, we're showing 101 members in the group. There's probably about 15 people that I would say are mostly regulars. Everybody might have a conflict, 1 month or not, but we did one service project. Unfortunately, the only time that we could do it was during the workday. So it was just myself and one other person who wasn't bound to the day job any longer. We had a wonderful time. We felt like Lucy and Ethel in the chocolate factory. They put us on an assembly line. We were packaging food for people who need food. The place we went to is their mission is twofold. It's to reduce food waste and to provide nourishing meals to people in need. And I got one statistic here. I got to look it up so I don't lie to you, that I thought was pretty significant. So for all time, they've rescued 8,242,244 pounds of food. They've transformed that into 5,976,081 meals for people.
That's great.
Redistributed another 3 million, almost 4 million pounds of food to, soup kitchens and other places where they finished the prep over there. They also helped keep a lot of restaurants open during COVID because they were shipping the food out to restaurants for them to keep their people busy processing the food and, doing that. But it was a really fun thing. But our group meetings, we're running 8 to 15 is I think the most we've had. But that's a manageable number for kind of having one conversation with the group. I think if we start getting more than that, we'll need to split into separate groups. But
yeah, that
really
definitely happens. That definitely happens, Glen. Let me interrupt you.
Glen, I love the service project. That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, great idea. And thank you for sharing, Glen. We appreciate it. And it's a great idea. We're going to go to Renee next, then Lisa, and then Michelle will be our final baller up. So have at it, Renee.
Perfect.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Renee.
I would say that we were all recruited by a celebrity, probably the same one. Although I thought I was getting on to listen to a guy named Pete Dominic several years ago, and I got snookered into listening to this guy just by happenstance. And I stayed on for 13 years now. So, Michael, I think you're doing something right because I listen every day and you've made me smarter for it. I sound smarter than I am in every circle because I listen to you. From 28 pages to God knows what, everything else in the middle. So thank you for your service and thank you for everything you do for all of us. I just want to say that.
Where are you, Renee?
Kansas City. I'm sorry, I should have said that. I'm right in the middle. And I think, I'm sorry, my dog is like choosing this exact moment to act up. She's like, I want out of here, Mom. We have like 138 members in our group. We've been together for 5 months. And we've had 4 meetings only because I too went to Italy right in the middle. So, so we've had 4 meetings. We have our 4th meeting coming up December 13th. I formulate our meetings around poll questions, Michael's poll questions, and that serves us very well. Everyone seems to really like that. We haven't, Bonnie, what you said we've had 1 hiccup. Was mine the hiccup?
No.
Okay. One guy like get mad and walk out of one of our meetings, and I mean we tried to handle it graciously. It was around Charlie Kirk's death, and I mean we tried to handle it as graciously as we could, and I followed up with the guy, and these things happen, but I mean, what can you do? I think we need to start a bingo card. That's what I think we need to do, because everyone who comes to our meetings has, we have 1 or 2 that don't know who Michael is, but almost everybody else has merch. They are definitely listeners. They have a copy of Smercomics. And then a number of people have unopened books of Smercomics. So there's a market out there.
That's funny, unopened.
It was a pleasure to meet all of you.
Thank you, Renee.
Bonnie. Thank you for all you do, Bonnie, to keep us all in line.
I really don't need any. Thank you. Thank you. I will just say thank you. So we're going to go to Lisa next, and then we'll go to Michelle, and then we're going to go to Chuck, because I forgot about Chuck, because he's like, sorry, Chuck. Familiarity breeds, what is it?
Contempt.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oops. All right.
Okay, lightning round. I'll be quick.
No, you're good.
Doylestown. We have some real hometown pride, Michael. Yeah.
Yeah, Lisa, didn't Michael come to your Doylestown meetup?
Yeah, he did.
3 weeks ago. Yeah.
Not our last one, the previous one, I guess, was October. Yeah, it was great. It was a big thrill, Michael. Thank you for doing that. So we've been at it for a full year. We've had 10 meetings, 9 in person and 1 virtual. We've had to put a cap of 25 on the meeting because otherwise it just isn't a good productive meeting. So we're ending up with, a number of people on the wait list, 10 to 15 on the wait list, which is a bit of a bummer, but we're not quite sure how else to do it to really make it a productive. We're very politics heavy. People just are engaged, and they want to know. They want to talk as the lot to the left, I would say, middle to the left, a lot of independent. The few times we have a right-leaning person, they don't seem to stick with us. So they may be there for a couple of meetings. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but mostly focused on national politics. Our most recent area of interest is the Forward Party. Is that right? Is it the Forward Party? Which
Yes.
There's a lot of interest in, and we had a lot of conversation last time about what they're doing and maybe trying to get behind that, right? Is how can we, as opposed to kind of venting and, about what's not working, is what are some of the things we might together be able to do? So, yeah, it's a very engaged group. And I think, as I mentioned, we limit to a 2-hour meeting so that people leave wanting more, right? So that they come back for the next meeting. And it's worked really well. I thank you very much, Bonnie and Michael, for the idea and for getting this started. So.
Thank you, Lisa. I'd be embarrassed if there weren't a Doylestown chapter. So thank you.
My pleasure.
And perfect timing. Lisa, thank you so much. We'll go to Michelle and then Chuck.
Hi, Michael. Hi,
No.
Bonnie.
Hi, Michelle.
Thanks for helping. Thanks for setting this up. I'm in Phoenix. Actually, I'm in Scottsdale, but it's the Phoenix chapter. Um, it's a huge valley, and we're very excited to have a meetup group. Or a mingle group. It started in November of last year, and they've had meetings pretty much from November on. I just took it on this past month. The guy who started it wanted to sort of back out because he was too busy. So I retired in last May, and so I said this is something I'm interested in. I think I can help with it, and so I volunteered. So I've only been to one meeting, so I can't really speak to what our meetings are about. We do meet at a place where there's food and drink because that seems to be the choice that a lot of people want. We're doing it in the early evenings. And again, that seems to be if we get working people, that way they can show up. And I think the one thing that I did want to share was during the summer, I read a book called Upswing. It's a very interesting book. I'm not going to go into it, but one of the end results was we need to learn how to get back together as a society. And so the Mingle Project was something I had heard of listening to Michael in the mornings many times. And so I thought, well, that sounds like an interesting way to get together. So I reached out to the group before I became the coordinator and joined. Phoenix has about 280 people, and we get about 18 people at a meeting. So the numbers in Meetup don't count. People join and then they don't do anything lots of times. So I think getting together, the two things I started doing was I first thought, well, we should do a Hands Across America again. And it would be much easier right now because we have social media. So I'm all about trying to figure out how to make that happen again. The second thing was I saw a speaker. His name was, oh, wait, I want to get the right name. His name was Francis Collins, who was head of the NIH for a number of presidents. And he did a talk. And then as part of his talk, he mentioned an organization called Braver Angels. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with Braver Angels.
Yes.
But they are also something I'm starting to connect with because they really want to figure out how to talk to each other. Like we're figuring out how to pull people together. And I think the groups are losing some of the conservatives. As I've heard people say, our group, I understand, had a fair number of conservatives and from the right, and now they're not showing up. So it's a matter of also all of us trying to figure out how to learn how to talk and speak in ways that people can feel valued and not put down. So I think that's my 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you,
good.
Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle, and welcome as our newer organizer. So Chuck, sorry I left you off.
No, no problem. Thank you, Michael, for sparking this. Thank you, Bonnie, for picking this up and running. This has been amazing. So I've been in Atlanta now for 9 years. I'm in a suburban county east of Atlanta. My county is majority Black, primarily Democratic. But the chair of our county commission now is the first county with all women commissioners in the state of Georgia. And the chair of our commission is a former Republican state senator who left the GOP when MAGA started. And she's an amazing member of our community. So professionally, I focus on human behavior. So I'm going to focus on that in the group for our group. We have 196 members. We usually get 10 to 15. We meet kind of in the north end where the suburbs and the city of Atlanta meet. And we draw from people drive regularly an hour to get to our meetup, which is great. And so probably the best human story I can tell is we have an evangelical Christian member who is a therapist who works for a community organization in a very heavily red area where most of the people she treats are in addiction and receiving mental health counseling as well. Majority on Medicaid, majority getting SNAP, but completely MAGA. And she has shared that she does not know how they're going to react when they find out that what they voted for is taking their benefits away. So we have an amazing group. Most people lean a little progressive. We've had a couple of very young people and a couple of very conservative people, and they've not come back. And we talk mainly about politics, and I'm over my 2 minutes, so I will stop.
Well, my best intentions. Thank you all for being on the call. I know everybody could have talked for another 10 minutes. We all have a lot to share with Michael, and maybe somehow we'll do it in person someday, as we've talked about. But I appreciate you all bringing your stories and trying to keep them short. Michael, what would you like to say to the team?
Couple of things. One, I'm not sophisticated and I'm not controlling the screen. Do you have the ability to display everybody's photo and to screenshot right now this gathering?
Yes.
So this
I can.
But we just have to have everyone turn it on. Yeah. Turn on their camera.
Yeah, not everyone's on camera.
Erin's dark. We can't really see maybe there's yeah.
I know that when someone speaks, they fill my screen. I would just love to have a record of this, and I'd love to be able to post it if that's.
I've got it Brady Bunch style. That's probably what you want, Michael.
The only problem that we have is that we're over the single page, so someone will be left off. But if
there's no way to display everybody.
Not on my screen. Lindsay, am I missing out?
I can see
in the
everybody.
top
You want
right.
me to do the screenshot?
I just did one, and also in the top right where it says view, if you click on that and hit gallery.
Yeah.
I'm on gallery.
Oh, that's
But I have
awesome.
2 pages.
That's awesome.
Okay.
It does go to 2 pages.
Put them together and you do 2 screenshots, Bonnie.
Okay, now I'm looking at everybody and I love it.
Okay.
But again, I'm a knucklehead. I'm so scared that if I take a picture, I'm gonna shut down something.
Don't worry, you won't shut anything down.
All right, hang on. Everybody on page 1, get ready to smile. Okay, now I'm slipping over to page 2.
Okay, there you go.
I don't know. This could be the same group of people, but I'm going to do it again, and then I'll say something more substantive, or at least I'll try to.
No, that's great, Michael. So when you take the second picture, and there's going to be 2 or 3 people that'll be on one and won't be on the other, Maya can put it all together easily to make it one shot.
Okay, but I kind of only got one grab. Just bear with me one more second.
No worries.
Leave anybody out. By the way, anybody else who can try and do this at home, do it and send it to me if I screw it up. Sorry.
What is the control to do that? Because I have everybody on one screen. Just how do I do it?
Are you on an Apple? And I'm on an Apple. It's control. Sorry, someone else say it because
Shift Command 4.
Shift Command 4, but I'm only getting one at a time.
So I just dropped a picture into the chat.
It looks good.
Okay, Bonnie, will you make sure I see that?
Lindsay, will you make sure he's no kidding?
Right, Lindsay's the infrastructure person, but Lindsay was in a car.
Oh yeah,
no,
Joe
I
got
know.
one too.
Okay.
We'll figure it out. I promise you.
Okay.
We will.
All right. That's number 1. Number two is we recorded this, right, Bonnie?
Yes, sir.
So would I be permitted to post it? I mean, I would just love to have a record of this conversation. You didn't anticipate that, so if somebody objects, I'll honor that. But I would love to post this on Facebook and on my Mingle page because I think this has been extraordinary. Any objections? If there's an objection, speak up now. Okay. Well, I think
everyone knows that I don't normally cry on calls. Bonnie.
Okay, so Bonnie or Lindsay in charge of infrastructure.
I can send that to you and Maya.
Okay, love to have it. Third point is I need to figure out how to do a better job of harnessing my platforms. This is so important. and you're all so earnest and authentic, and I'm so appreciative. I need to figure out how to do a better job than just at the end of some hour remembering, oh my God, I've got to promote a half a dozen of these gatherings. I will speak in a substantive way about this gathering, and I will do it soon. And I will make sure that I have time on my hands and tell everybody what this was like for me, because I think there'd be no better advertisement than to just discuss some of what I heard, and I took notes on what everybody had to say. If there are suggestions into what I could be doing better to support these efforts, then I need to know what they are. I'm spread too thin. I think you all know that.
Yeah.
But if there are ways that if I can get the support of the folks who are around me and do a better job on the website or Facebook and the radio program, I want to do it.
I have a suggestion.
Go ahead.
So I love the things that you're posting on YouTube.
Yeah.
And maybe every time you promote one of those, also mention the Mingle Project, the meetups as well.
Okay, so what I was thinking, Diane, is that this video that we're recording right now would itself be a Mingle Project episode. I'd love it. What a wonderful way to introduce. I can just post this and put it out there.
I love that. I think the repetition is really good too. Like every time
Yes.
you post something, if you can incorporate mentioning the Mingle in persons as well. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And then the final thing that I wanted to share is a request, which is I'm really struggling with the ask. And by that, I mean that I know this has struck a chord. This has been my speech for quite some time. I'm consolidating it, but I've been speaking to private groups around the country a lot, as much as my schedule will allow, and very diverse groups in terms of who is putting together the gathering. I'll give you one example: is the largest school districts in the country brought me in to speak at their convention. It was the superintendents and several board members of the largest, so urban school districts. And I was so excited to speak to this group because if there's so many of the themes that address the difficulties of young people and the impact of technology, and the way that I'm delivering the speech these days totally begins and ends with the school bus ride. Only now I think I've polished it better to use that school bus as a metaphor for the fact that we all used to ride together and go in the same direction and be united in purpose and have these organic experiences with other kids our age. And now you've heard me say the statistic for the first time ever, more than half of our kids are being driven to school in a private vehicle, and they're missing all that opportunity for socialization and growth and lessons, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So my pitch is the pitch of bus number 5, which is a working title for a book on these themes that I'd love to be able to get together, but this year has gotten away from me. But the point is this: at the end of the speech, at the end of the presentation, there then comes the point where I can tell by reading the room, everybody's on board and everybody gets it, whether they're private equity traders, because I've spoken to a lot of them, or the school superintendents and board members, or fill in the blank, because I've spoken to so many different groups. And everybody is sort of yearning for, okay, we get it. So what are we going to do about it? And the best that I've done, and if you watch the Mingle movie, at the end of the Mingle movie, I go through, a dozen things that have been suggested to me by Robert Putnam, who's really the gold standard and wrote the book Bowling Alone. And the list includes support of community organizations, volunteer activities, join something, be like your parents and grandparents were, and single out where in your particular community you're willing to be a participant. And I speak with some specificity about a whole range of everything from Urban League to supporting the Little League to buying that local newspaper, the one with all the pictures and the honor roll and the obituaries, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's a good list, and I developed it with Putnam. But there needs to be something tangible and specific that everyone is capable of doing. Not a huge ask, but a small ask of some form of engagement. And I don't know what it is. And I've solicited the opinion of lots of social scientists, and no one's been able to give me the one bite-sized thing that then, almost like wearing that sticker that says, I voted, you've got skin in the game because you heard the message and you acted on the message. And so I want to develop what that might be. And I want to be able to go on air regularly and make that pitch and then have callers every once in a while say, I'm calling from such and such a location. And by the way, I fill in the blank. And maybe they tell me in their call, in addition to commenting on the news of the day or a poll question, what it is that actually means to them. One of the thoughts that I have is that Martin Luther King Day, and is coming up quickly, but it's a volunteer activity day. And volunteerism is probably the best way that people can be involved, whatever volunteerism might mean to you, wherever you happen to be. Here in Philadelphia, and my friend Todd Bernstein, who is featured in Mingle episode #1, he's the one who organized what has become the nation's largest day of volunteer activity. And I've always felt like I let him down because I promote it every year, and I've attended his events, and I've done my radio show once from there a long time ago. But maybe there's something around MLK Day that speaks to mingling and the need for community involvement. I don't know. I'm spitballing, and despite a lot of thought on the issue, I just haven't figured that out. But I think that it would really benefit the movement if there were something you could do to buy in. I could speak at length on this, but that's my conundrum.
So Renee has her hand up, and then Ryan, and then I have a thought to share. But Renee, go first, and then Ryan.
I feel like you said this on your show about join something, join something. And maybe the join something is join something where you volunteer. Join something attached to volunteerism. I mean, am I wrong? Am I missing
No,
something?
but I don't know if that's enough. I mean, I don't know.
It's enough. Is that your problem is you don't think that's enough?
Yeah, I feel like I've got to be more specific. I mean, my buddy Steven Singer, we raised so much money for 9/11 charities over the span of 15 years. And I was with him recently, and I said to him, Steven, when I figure out what people need to do, then I'm coming back to you because you're going to craft something, some kind of a pin that people get to wear that sparks conversation where people say, well, what is that? Oh, and then they lay out their form of volunteer, whatever it is they did. Right, exactly. Only I'm not going to be able, I don't want to sell anything because then it makes it demeans what I'm trying to do here. But that's where my head is. Like, to get to the next level, I need to promote these events better than I am, which I think you've given me. I think you've given me a lot of things that I can now say about it. But I need to know what the ask is beyond coming to a mingle gathering.
Maybe it's not just a one-time thing. Maybe it's like I'm going to make a 12-month or a 6-month commitment to doing these things where they can kind of check off a list of I'm going to join a group that meets monthly. I'm going to join something that has to do with the community, because it does need to be speaking to people who get together, people who are giving back in some way. But maybe it's too big to just be a one-time thing.
So Ryan, go next, and then Lori.
Yeah, I think the ask could just be make a friend that you disagree with. Asking people to join a group might not be something they're comfortable with, but when they start thinking about how am I going to make a friend, they might, be drawn to something like this. And I think in my own life, that's why I was drawn to organizing something like this, because I don't want my friends to all think like me.
I'm looking for an email that I want to share with you. If you'll just give me a moment.
Can
I have it?
No, I didn't know if you
So
wanted.
I recently wrote to Putnam, right? And I said to him, I'm your acolyte, and evangelist. I talk about you, I'm just paraphrasing my note to him, on Sirius XM and CNN. And my public speaking these days is all about the Mingle Project, in which I quote extensively Bowling Alone. I frame the issue as our nation's core problem being one of a lack of common experience. I've rolled out a series of conversations under the banner of the Mingle Project on YouTube with the goal of getting the people to participate in something that fosters common experience. Today, however, I said to him, I have a more immediate and specific question. No matter the forum, radio, TV, live audience, people get it. They understand the demise of social capital as you define it. They recognize that we are living far more detached lives than our parents, and they want to do something about it. But what? I offer a litany of suggestions that you have given to me in our prior interviews: church, Little League, volunteerism, student exchange programs, support of local newspapers, etc. But I think I would be more effective as an advocate for your cause if I could identify one specific ask, something realistic, something tangible, that I could suggest that people do in their own lives, something that would give them a sense of participation and accomplishment. I'm not sure, but maybe even the type of thing that once you completed, you wear a sticker or a pin to spark curiosity from friends and strangers, to try and spark a little contagion. Who better to ask than you? So what is that one thing? I'll spare you the full reply, but he said, wear a sticker that says, tell me about yourself. A conversation opener that puts the spotlight on you, not me. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, but I bring it up just as an example of how I'm struggling and trying to figure this out.
So Lori, go ahead. You're muted. You're muted. Yeah.
Lori, you're muted.
Lori, you're muted.
Still muted.
Sorry.
There you go. That's all right.
No, wait. I just tried to unmute her and then I muted her. Go ahead.
All right.
Okay, there
Can you
go.
hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead.
Okay. I'm standing in for Jake because he had to go to another meeting. But he carries around a stack of $2 bills with him all the time because they still make them and nobody really even knows they're out there. And he tips people a $2 bill who normally wouldn't get a tip. And all he asks in exchange, because it makes people's day to get like a $2 bill that they didn't even know existed. And he says, pass it on to somebody else. But all you have to do is tell the story about how you got the $2 bill. So it's causing people who don't know each other to pass this $2 bill around and share stories of how they came across getting this $2 bill tip for maybe they did an act of kindness. You know, like if somebody does something like let him cut in line at the grocery store or something, you know, simple. It doesn't even have to be an act of kindness. It can just be you smiled pretty, you know, but he goes up to strangers and shares a $2 bill with them. And so I thought that might be a fun thing where these $2 bills, maybe people can sign them and they get passed around and the stories get passed around with the $2 bill. So just a thought.
That's great. You know, one thing I heard recently from someone was bad ideas are great. And the reason I'm like, what? Because any idea, however good or bad or easy it is to implement, but an idea spawns another idea, like the old Breck shampoo commercial. So I think Michael just opening up for everyone's ideas. And there's a whole bunch of stuff in the chat that I think I can gather together and send to you and Maya if you like, Michael.
Yes.
But I also
do.
think just talking to a stranger, you know, I've had like I wanted to write for your, what do you call letters? Your I forget where you would accept articles from people, from your listeners, and I wanted to write, you know, how talking to strangers has changed my life. And it goes back to COVID when nobody would talk to each other and everybody was wearing masks. And I just think that talking to a stranger, if everyone talked to a stranger every day, their lives would be so much better and so much happier,
okay,
so
so
much more fulfilling.
I was thinking maybe it's as simple as maybe it shouldn't be so defined. Maybe it is that you've mingled because it takes on so many different incarnations. And I want to fuel something, not every call, but I want to get all it would take. There's such a, I'll use that word again, contagion, where if people call from a given town, somebody calls me from Cincinnati, watch this now that I've explained this. Somebody else will call me from Cincinnati. And I have a theory about it, which is that somebody's sitting in their car thinking they should call me, and they're in Cincinnati. Now they heard somebody, hell, I'm going to call them. I'm in Austin. I'm going to call them. And if I could get this started where people call up and not as their main premise, but they say, hey, by the way, I've mingled, which would cause me to say, oh, how so? Oh, I mingled because I went to back to school night. And I spoke to some people that I hadn't otherwise, or I went to synagogue, or what I supported this local nonprofit in a way that I wouldn't have if you hadn't made me start thinking about the need for mingling. Maybe it's as simple as I've mingled. And then you tell me how you mingled. I volunteered. I did something. I'm thinking of doing my show on MLK Day from this enormous gathering in Philly, and using that day to talk only about this, talk only about it. I haven't convinced SiriusXM yet, but I think that I will. Anyway, that's what's on my mind.
Well, so Diane wants to say something, and then after Diane, Venice can go next. Sorry that we're running long, Michael.
How about just ask me about today's daily poll question? It's a little wordy, but kind of mysterious,
But you're somehow conveying that to a person and hoping that it starts a conversation.
Yeah, just get a little button that says that. Yeah.
I know, but I want you doing something at home, in your community, whatever, in Sacramento, in your case, whatever that might be. Not looking to burden you, but just getting you to push the envelope more than you otherwise would have.
So Venice, go next.
I thought it'd be cool, at least if you're calling this show, just like you said, where they call from Cincinnati and the next one from Cincinnati. And I just think it'd be like, hey, I mingled, or, just like you get that voter stickle, I mingled, and you sort of say, I mingled, or I'm a mingler,
right?
Something like that, and say, hey, Mike, I'm a mingler, and say what
it could actually be great radio fodder, because then I say, oh, Venice, what did you do? Well, I found myself in this circumstance, and where I otherwise would not have gotten involved, I did. Short story, interesting story, plants a seed for other listeners all across the country, and maybe causes somebody to go out of their way and do something they would not have on that particular day.
Yeah, and you can
maybe it doesn't need to be complicated.
Right. And maybe if it's a Monday on MLK Day, it could be Mingle Monday or something like that, or a town hall or something. Could be fun.
So I'm going to let Beth jump in, and then I want to jump in, and then
By the way, you agree with me. It's a natural, if I can do it for that day, instead of doing a normal show, to do this show that I envision and actually be in the hub of a community where people are volunteering.
Yes.
So Beth, go ahead and then go ahead.
Just as a tangible thing that you can do on your website right now, Michael, you've got all of the meetup groups listed here, but we actually don't have the event dates showing up. And just like listening to people talk about how they've gone to Mingle events in other towns, I think, many of us.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in and say no.
Oh, okay.
It's no. You know what? You guys are fabulous, and I love you all to death, but you're like herding cats in the rain sometimes. Okay. So getting if anyone clicks on any of these links, they can get to that meetup group, and then they can see when that group is. What I want to add to the conversation, Michael, is we do have contagion that you don't know about. And what I mean by that is every time you mentioned our meetups, we all get, and I in particular get, a flurry of emails. So you know that I always listen like a week behind. So I'm like on last, Thursday, Friday's call. As soon as you mention it, people then go to that area of the website, and then I get a lot of inquiries to launch meetups. And so there is contagion. Perhaps I like Venice's idea, like Mingle Monday, and like you have Admiral Stavridis and you have Mark Halpern. Maybe you have a Monday Mingle message or something. And one of the things I was hoping from this call that we didn't really get to, I understand everybody only had 2 minutes, but there's so many great human interest stories that come from each of our meetups.
I can tell. Yeah.
And I think that's where we could use a Slack platform, that if, Glen has a meetup and there's just this great story of this thing that happened. Like I have my Bill and Hillary story. Like everyone loves the fact that we have a couple that came from our group. They're moving in together, by the way.
Wait, do we condone that? Do we condone that? Is that okay? Okay.
Totally do. It has been such an amazing love story that these two people met at a meetup, at our meetup, and they've been together now a year, and they just moved in this past weekend. But the stories that like Jeff can share and Beth can share, each of us can share, then maybe you have a segment, maybe it's only a 10-minute segment, but maybe that segment is saying, hey, Michelle, come, dial in and share this story. And then you just have those. I think that people are yearning for personal connection. And just like some of the meetups are very political and some are just very social, people are yearning to connect. And I think that when they hear some of these stories, even Beth's story, as hard as it was to share, I think that people would really resonate and want to be more engaged with not only our meetups, but just in general with other humans.
Yeah, we have something here, and you all have built an unbelievable foundation. And the question now is how to take it to the next level. And I want to figure out how to do that.
All righty. Well, thank you for your time, Michael, and thank you for listening.
Thank
to
all of you.
Stories.
I love it. I love it. You really have made my day. It's amazing. It really is, and it just gives me a lot of encouragement, and also the motivation to keep talking about these themes. When you start to see the world through this Mingle lens and you start to look at news stories, you'll see them all as connected pieces of a puzzle. And otherwise you might just miss them. There's not a day that goes by, and now we will put the stories in a purple box to make them stand out in the newsletter, just to call people's attention to these themes, because the primacy of it, I think that this is really what's wrong with the country. I really do. So I wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. Okay. And thank you so much. And Bonnie, you're the best. You're the bomb. You are the bomb. You really are.
All right. Anyway.
Thank you.
Well,
thank you, Michael.
Thank you,
all right.
Michael.
We're gonna
Hey,
let
by the way, open invitation. I have to be careful not give away too much information because now we've agreed we're going to post this. But if you are a Mingle captain and you are in the Philly area, you are cordially invited to come and see the new studio. It'll knock your socks off. So use that as an excuse to come to Philadelphia. I'd love to show it to you. I'm so proud of what we've created. I just wish I had done it a lot sooner.
Awesome.
Oh,
Thank you.
great.
Thank you.
Bring bagels.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I really do appreciate you all, and I hope I get to meet all of you at some point.
Thank you, Michael. Happy
Thanks,
Thanksgiving.
Michael.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Michael.
Thanksgiving.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
in-person event in Las Vegas in 2026.
Love to at the Mob Museum.
It's not big enough.
Good night.
Great stuff, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. That was terrific.
I might be able to get a group discount at Caesar's Hotels. Just put it out there.
All right. So we ran obviously really late, and I have a very hard stop. But does anyone know, Lindsay, if she's still on? I don't know how to get the chat to
download it.
Right.
Yeah.
Does anyone know how to do that?
You should be able.
If
I think it will be available
open
in
the
your
chat
Zoom app.
window and go to the three little dots at the top.
Okay.
Yeah.
Save chat.
There's
Save
the
chat. Thank you.
It'll go automatically to your if you use a Mac, automatically to your folder as a .txt file.
Okay, well, I don't have a Mac, but I did say save chat, so hopefully.
Saved it too, Bonnie, just in case.
What?
I saved
I saved it as well in case you don't have it.
All right, well then I'm not going to worry about it because you'll take care of that for me, and we'll get all that to my. And for those of you who said, an email, Michael doesn't want to give out his email address obviously to everybody because he doesn't even want emails from me. I know you all think that I have some shorthand with Michael.
Bonnie, you might want to stop recording it so we don't have to edit this out at the end.
Good call.
We